Good afternoon. Welcome to Business Spotlight series. I'm with Kian Bakhtiari from The People. How are you doing, Kian?
Yeah, very good, Sanjeev.
Excellent. Thanks for making a time to talk to me, Kian. So we're about to find out what your journey as a business owner, as an entrepreneur is. So kick us off with telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got to doing what you're doing, and what you do, what your mission is.
Absolutely. Firstly, I just wanted to say delighted to be joining you in conversation. My name is Kian Bakhtiari. I'm the founder of The People, and we're a creative company powered by a global community of young creators and change makers. And at the heart of what we do is helping brands and organizations co-create with young people. So that's at the heart of what we do. And our mission is to amplify the voices of young people and help brands build a better world. So by including young, diverse voices, brands are able to stay relevant and future-proof themselves.
Very interesting. How did you get into it, Kian?
I used to work in research. So I was a researcher at House of Parliament, which sounds fun, but was incredibly boring. And then somehow I stumbled into the creative industries where, again, I was a researcher, and then I became strategist for a media agency. And then after that, I just realized a lot of time, effort, money was being spent by a lot of great, talented people to create campaigns. But on the other side, when I was with my friends, they couldn't care less. So there was this disconnect between these two worlds.
Yeah.
And I just asked, what if you involved people, and especially young people, in the creative process and the decision-making process from the very start rather than at the end?
Okay. And these co-creators, they sound like a volunteer army. Can you just explain how that works?
Yeah, it's a great question. So they are at the heart of everything we do. So I would say we have a new world model, which is about being a distributed, decentralized organization. So the traditional agency, you kind of grow based on the number of clients and projects that you have. Whereas in our world, we're able to bring on community members depending on brief, project. So every project we bring on different people, and they're all doing amazing stuff themselves. So from a brand perspective and a business perspective, it's basically people you can't hire. They're doing their own things. They've got their own side hustles. They have their own businesses. They're creating stuff. But what we are able to do is to bring them on for a very specific project or thing that they're genuinely passionate about. So in a way, if you think about them, they're consultants, but for youth culture.
Yes, like it. Okay, that's helped me understand it much better. So Kian, maybe share with us what your journey's been like so far as an entrepreneur, as a business owner.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds super cliche, and I promise you, you probably hear this so much in your interviews, but it is genuinely like a roller coaster. So there's lots of ups and downs, and I think the thing I've learned out of that is you really have to love it. And I feel very blessed, Sanjeev, every day I wake up and I'm doing something that I genuinely love and I'm passionate about. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but I think it makes you persevere and it makes you want to do something that's bigger than you in many ways. I think at the heart of what drives me is our mission of being able to support young people and giving them opportunities.
Great. And you talked about brands. Can you give us an example of a kind of brand and kind of work and the problem that you've solved for them? Is there something that stands out?
Yeah, we do have. I'm not sure if I can talk about
Okay. Even without naming specifics, is like what's the kind of
so we work. Yeah, I can give you an example actually. So we've worked on things that are public. So for example, we've worked with the likes of L'Oreal. For them, it was a question about, okay, all our products are for him and for her. What does this mean for a new generation that doesn't ascribe to these gender norms? We've just launched our own report on young Muslims and their experiences and how brands can connect with young Muslims.
Right.
We run mentoring programs, so it's a real mixture.
That's interesting. Really good. All right, back to you. Back to your experience as a business owner, an entrepreneur. What one or two challenges that you faced, and what you've done to overcome them? What can you relate to us?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, and it's that thing of going from 0 to 1. So when you're starting out, you go from a big organization to you have to start from scratch. And the biggest challenge we had in the early days, Sanjeev, is we'd get into conversations and it'll be really promising. People will be like, yeah, love it, love your kind of vision, love what you do. But who have you done this for before? And I think it's kind of it's kind of a chicken and egg thing of, in order to get a project, you need to prove that you've done it. And especially when it's innovation, you need people to kind of really believe and be willing to invest. So that's been the toughest part of being able to show people, here's what we've done and here's who we've done it for.
Right. So how have you overcome that initially, that lack of credentials, if you like?
I think like any business, and especially in the creative industries, you're in many ways, you're as good as your work, and being able to show the work that we're doing. So we kicked off like doing our own work. So sharing the voices of our community and working with startups and then working with bigger global brands. And as you do more projects, you both improve your own internal capabilities, but you also have things to show. So it became infinitely easier in year 2 or year 3 when someone was like, okay, what have you done? You've got all these kind of case studies and examples. Whereas in that first year, I think the challenge of a startup, it's in the name. You're doing everything for the first time. So when we had to create a proposal, it might take a whole week because we're creating processes for the first time. When people ask us case studies, sure, I've done it in other companies, but it's just getting people to kind of believe in the mission.
Right. Yeah. And that's all kind of based on know, like, trust in the end, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes time. I think that's the other thing. It's accumulative. So it kind of accumulates. It's almost like a bank account. The more you add to it, the stronger it is.
Very good. Very good. So Kian, what's the future look like? What's your kind of vision of where you're heading and what you're creating?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be terrible if it wasn't the case, Sanjay, but I'm very excited about the future and what the future's got to hold. In terms of the work we're doing, it's very much based on working with brands and companies that share our vision. So they want to create a more inclusive and sustainable world. And I think that's been great for us over the last few years. We've really understood who we want to collaborate with and who we don't.
Yeah.
And our mission is to amplify the voices of young people and unleash their creative potential. So the more we can work with companies, the more opportunities we can provide to our community. So we're hoping to really scale that globally. So support more of our community members all around the world, provide opportunities, provide micro grants, and just give them a platform to be able to shine, because they have the talents, but they don't always have the opportunities.
Yeah, very good. So your team's distributed globally, right?
Yeah, so our team's central. So we've got a core team. And the community is global, so everywhere around the world.
Yeah, very good, excellent. So what's exciting you about the future?
It's a great question. What is exciting me about the future? I think we've got a really amazing opportunity there are some really big challenges the world face. So if you take the climate crisis all the way down to like social inequality, and I think we've got a new generation that are very unapologetic. They won't take it anymore. And I think we've got an opportunity to rethink how we've designed the world and who it serves. And for me, that's really exciting.
It's a big agenda, big agenda.
It's a big agenda, but I think it's also, you're never too small. This is the other thing I've learned. You're never too small to make an impact.
Yeah.
So for us, it is a big agenda, but if we can be part of solution, what an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah. You describe yourselves as change makers, don't you? So it makes complete sense. As a business, how do you see it evolving? If that question makes sense.
Yeah, I think as a business, we're living in interesting times. I've just kind of finished writing about this, but you've had this kind of unprecedented era of globalization. So everything, free trade, like freedom of movement. And now I think we're going to have a slightly more fragmented world. Obviously, from an economic perspective, we've got the economic hangover from the pandemic. But at the same time, any time where there's been a moments of crisis, it's created the conditions for innovation, creativity, and new thinking. So as a business, I'm excited about the potential where when businesses are doing business as usual, suddenly they notice and realize they need to switch it up and do things in new ways. So I'm excited by that.
Good, great, fantastic. So Kian, one of the things we always like to ask is what lessons can you share with somebody that's going on a similar journey, you know, an emerging business, looking to scale up and so on? Have you got any particular lessons you could share?
Yeah, it's a great question. What lessons can I share? I think they're going to sound quite contradictory, but I don't think they are. The first one is just to have real clarity of what your mission is. So why are you doing this? Why have you started the business? And then I've mentioned this before, but if you're really clear on mission, that shapes everything you do. That's kind of the DNA of the business. But it also means when things get tough, you know why you're doing it, and it helps you kind of get out of bed and kind of go that extra mile. So have a really clear mission.
Yeah, like that. So you know, as you say, I think Simon Sinek, if you have a big enough why, you'll find the how, and you won't get phased at the setbacks. Yeah, that's your message.
That's exactly it. Like, I think that's you've put it really well. If you have that why, I'm not saying you'll figure it all out, but you know why you're doing it and why you're putting in the work. Second thing, which is I think counterintuitive to a lot of creatives in the creative industries, but understand the commercial side of things. So understand the numbers, understand business, understand how you win business, because ultimately you need to be able to win business to have an impact, unless you're a charity or you have donors. So that's a personal lesson that I've kind of.
You're talking my language there. You're talking.
Yeah, I think it's so important though.
Yeah, great.
I think the last thing I would say is just find your people. So not everyone's going to be your people. So kind of surround yourself with people that will uplift you and help you develop and grow.
Very good. Do you know what you've just said has reminded me of something? We were at a conference a couple of weeks ago, BizX, and Stephen Bartlett was, Diary of a CEO. Stephen, he was talking about some things, and two or three of the key messages he shared kind of resonate with what you've just shared. You know, the team, the vision, the mission, but also, knowing that you've got to equip yourself with a toolkit for growing and managing and developing a business. So it sounds very similar. The wisdom of young people. That's what I'm tapping into here. Fantastic. Kian, what advice would you give to a 25-year-old person, kind of I don't mean the business necessarily, but just the advice that you wish you had that you might be in a position to give now?
It's a piece of advice, actually, I was lucky enough to be given myself, but don't always, when you're kind of early in your career, I would say, don't always just follow like what's the highest salary. If you can get paid to learn and gain experience, that will kind of pay long term in 10, 20, 30 years. So when you're thinking about your next opportunity, take a more long-term approach of how will this help me achieve my long-term goals.
I like that. Invest in yourself.
Yeah,
really good.
Exactly that.
Super. Listen, if it's okay, we'll wrap up there. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or connect with what you're doing, what's the best way?
Sure. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can drop me an email at kian@thepeople.work.
Kian@thepeople.work. Simple. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kian. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you for the invitation, Sanjeev. Really enjoyed it.